Have you ever struggled with coming up with content for your social media? Do you sometimes feel overwhelmed, not sure what to post, and really just feeling lost and frustrated and wanting to even just give up? In today's episode, we're going to break down some key ideas to help simplify this overwhelming thought process for you. Make it more simple, easier to come up with content ideas and then actually create them so that you can have a more strategic approach to your social media that takes away a lot of that stress and overwhelm. Here we go. Welcome to the Salon Scoop, the podcast that helps salon owners and salon professionals grow their business, boost their brand, and stay inspired. From salon marketing and social media to leadership and growth, we uncover the strategies and stories that move the industry forward. If you love learning, growing, and are serious about leveling up your salon business and brand, you've just found your new go-to podcast. How would it feel if you had a framework for your social media, a bit of a structure that helped you to actually create content that's going to deliver results? That's what we're delving into in today's episode, and I have with me our social media digital marketing content guru, Sarah Perrin. Sarah, I appreciate all the content that you create. Love what you do on the Salon S.O.S page, and thanks for being here to talk about some of the content strategies that you have been implementing for us.
Yeah, of course. This is something like before we started recording, I was like, this is a topic I am passionate about. I teach all of my staff like different ways to easily create social media because I know it can be difficult if you're just like, you know, kind of flying by the seat of your pants and being like, oh, I need to post something today or tomorrow. And it can end up being the same thing over and over and over again. So when I'm creating content for S.O.S, my page, whatever, or teaching the girls at my salon how to create content for their own pages, this is always kind of the first thing that I touch on. Because like you said, I'm like, it kind of creates the foundation and the framework so that it's not so overwhelming.
Yeah, social media for salon owners or social media for salon professionals does not need to be a constant source of pain and stress and frustration and overwhelm. We can make it easier, but you need to put a little bit of time into planning and to having some frameworks and structure. And Sarah, so you really like the concept of content pillars. So maybe you can share with our listeners, you know, why content pillars matter for salon social media.
For sure. So especially with the salon industry, I will see service providers and salons alike. Like it can be the individual and the whole salon, but it's the same thing day after day after day. It's an informational post, if you will. So it's a picture of hair and it says caramel macchiato, and then the next one it's another picture of hair and it says vanilla bean latte, and then the next one, like you feel me, like I'm like, it's the same thing over and over and over.
Pumpkin spice, anyone?
Yeah, sorry,
I said pumpkin spice, anyone?
Oh my god, exactly, right? Like, and it's just like, again, the same thing over. And what is your client getting, or sorry, what is your audience getting from that? They're seeing that you're talented, they're seeing this post, but they're not learning anything from you, right? They don't know how you styled that hair or why the person decided to go copper for fall because they love pumpkin spice lattes or whatever it might be, right? And that's not to say that you can't throw one of those in every once in a while, but if it's the only thing you're doing, it just gets boring to look at as a consumer, right? And again, it's not really like building trust with potential clients. They just can see that, oh, they can do nice hair and take a good picture, right? So I always look at these content pillars as a way to kind of build, it's like the foundation of your storytelling, because your social media should be a place where you're able to share your artistry, but also your insight, your knowledge, kind of talk about yourself a little bit. So I like it for yes, I like it for being able to make sure that the content that I'm putting out for, again, regardless of the industry, but with the salon industry in particular, so that you're getting a good mix of things and it's not just the same thing day after day after day. So I like to look at it, there's like, 4 to 5 pillars. Some of these are interchangeable, but they really should be educational, promotional, entertaining, inspirational, and then with some personal stuff thrown in there too, right? So we're going to kind of break this down, but that's kind of the whole thought process behind this is when you are creating your content, it's a lot easier to look at it if, like you said, like you take an hour once a week, or not even, if you're only posting 3 times a week or something like that, it's like, okay, so I want to make 1 educational, 1 inspirational, and 1 promotional. So my educational post is going to be showing my clients how to use the new Kate Teen Root Lift spray. And then my promotional one is I'm going to show a picture of hair I did last week and talk about how we have free shampoo with every color service. And then my entertaining one is I'm going to find a funny reel to remake. I'm going to get one of the people at the salon to help me make it. And then you have that game plan. It's not just like the day of, or all of a sudden 3 weeks passes and you're like, shit, I haven't posted anything. Got to go back into the archive and grab a picture of a before and after, right? So that's kind of the idea about it. And we're going to break down what each of these pillars looks like and how you can create content that is under that content pillar.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's delve into that, because having this kind of a structure is going to help you save time and energy in putting together your post. I think that's really critical for everyone. We want to make it easy for you and your salon social media. The other thing is just, I guess, following through on what Sarah just talked about, is you want to think about what does a potential client want to know about you in order for them to go from just becoming aware of you and your services to actually wanting to consider you for a booking. So it can't just be the same thing. There's lots of things that you do, and you want to create that aura about yourself, either as an individual or as a salon company on your page. And that's why having these different pillars really matters, so that you can showcase that variety to them. So I'm going to delve into first educational content. This is probably one of the strongest tools that you can use to elevate your credibility, right? Your reputation as an expert in your field. And whether that's with hair, whether that's with nails, whether that's with skin, whatever services you provide, you want to be providing that, showcasing that expertise through educational content. So this can be simple, tip posts, right? How to maintain, your color between appointments. So again, you might use a picture of a hair color that you've done, but your little headline and your caption is going to be much more in depth about giving tips and how-to advice. It might be about ingredient breakdowns of certain products, right? And why these ingredients are helping to achieve certain benefits. Maybe it's tutorials. These are great ones. People love, tips for how to recreate a look at home. And if you can help give them tips for home maintenance of the looks that you're creating for them in your salon space, that's an amazing educational tip that's going to make them feel so confident in your advice, right? And wanting to continue to come back to you because you're providing them with such great information, such great expertise. And why would they want to go somewhere else if they're getting so much valuable information from you? So think about what kind of value can you create. Sometimes it's just explaining some of your services in an educational way. Like, why is a gloss, important for you? Right? A lot of people may not, really know what's a brow tint. How can that really benefit you? As opposed to just saying, hey, 20% off on brow tints. How about an educational post about brow tints, why they're important, what they are, what the benefits are? All these things can be great educational content for you to put out there.
I love that, Scott. And I think just to piggyback off that, I think it's super important to remember who your audience is. And for the most part, it's not other salon professionals. I mean, they might follow, but so when you're thinking about this educational content, some things that might seem like, again, common knowledge or just common sense, like you said, like what's a brow tint? I mean, in the industry, of course, you know what a brow tint is or what a gloss is or things like that. But just remember who you're posting for. And even though some of the things might seem like they're basic information, there have been like little tips that I've gotten off of, social media pages where I'm like, that's life-changing. And then I'll talk to the girls at the salon. They're like, yeah, obviously that's what you should be doing. I'm like, brushing your hair before you wash it. Something as simple as that. I'm not a hairstylist. I didn't know that. So remember who your audience is and who you're posting for. And yeah, again, educate even with just like little tips along the way. I'm like, it can make a huge difference, right? One other thing too, that I always just tell, again, my team at the salon is if you're posting a picture of a product or something like that, instead of just being like, this is this product, it is proven to do this and this and this. Again, explain why, like how to use it, and what type of hair it's good for. Instead of just like pretty much what's on the bottle, like this is how you do it. Show like, here's a hot tip.
Who is it for?
Yes, exactly. Like, again, dive a little bit deeper and provide them, like, this is the whole point of educational content, provide them with something that they can't find somewhere else by just giving it a Google and finding the product description, right? So educational, like you said, is definitely one of the top ones that I think a lot of people are sleeping on or not doing it kind of properly. But another one is entertaining. And again, these feel goofy and ridiculous. And if you're like me, I'm cringing the whole time I have to make these, but they perform the best. People love them. People love seeing kind of that like goofy or funny side of you as a service provider or your salon. And I think especially with the salon industry, it can be a very intimidating environment, right? Like I'm like, especially if you don't come from the salon world, you're walking into a space where, people are done up and providing these beauty services, and it can kind of seem a little bit stuffy and again, unapproachable. So I feel like the entertaining ones are super important just to kind of break that barrier and people can kind of see your personality a little bit more. And my tip for entertaining ones is whenever you're scrolling, and I know we're all doom scrolling, in the evening or in the back room on a break or whatever it is, if you see something that you're like, that's funny, I enjoyed watching that, have a note on your phone and copy and paste the link for it. And then when you have a slow day, let's say you have, cancellation or you've got a gap in the middle of your day, then you can recreate them there. You already have this library of ideas, right? So I would also recommend this for any of the content that we're talking about. If you see somebody that does an excellent, educational post, not that you have to copy it or anything like that, but you're like, that was a really nice way of displaying that. I liked that. Save it so that when you, again, have the time to do it, you can just kind of pick and choose what you want to recreate or take inspiration from, right? So that is entertaining, and it is also an important pillar to make sure you're creating under.
Love it. Another core pillar is your promotional pillar. Obviously, promotional content is going to have a significant place within your feed. But one thing that you have to gotta be mindful of is that people don't like to scroll and see promotional stuff. They're already getting, sponsored content, ads. So they don't want to feel like your social media feed is just more ads. So how can you avoid this while still showcasing your products and services? Our recommendation is to incorporate some of the aspects of the other pillars into your promotion. So for example, how could we have a promotional content, but that's a little bit educational at the same time? Maybe you have a seasonal facial promotion that you want to be talking about, but you could add some educational content to talk about, why, that particular treatment is beneficial for skin in winter. And, oh, by the way, we have this great package available for, 20% off when you book, blah, 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 right? So you could incorporate some education. Another idea is you could incorporate some entertainment content, right? So if you have, let's say, some, product sale going on, rather than just saying, 25% off of leader products or off of, duos, maybe you try to get some of your staff together and, you have one of them holding one product and one of them holding another product, and they come together as a duo, and you just do something silly and fun, but it's like, duos are coming together at Salon XYZ, this month. And it's just a fun way to present a promotion, and it softens the blow from just a traditional, image of products with 25% off sign. So incorporating those other pillars a little bit can help you soften the promotional content and actually make it way more effective at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, Scott, nobody likes to be punched in the face by, sales, sales, sales. So again, just being a little bit smarter about it, not just saying 25% off, but again, diving a little bit deeper into it. Another content pillar that is important to keep in mind is inspirational. So this might look like your client reviews, a picture of your salon space that is encouraging you to book in for some self-care. Maybe it's a before and after of a client who was having some type of hair issue and you solved it by XYZ. So again, it is almost kind of, tying in a few of those other pillars as well. Like these posts can look promotional. They can look, maybe a little bit entertaining. They can look educational, but it is more of that. This is like the drive to book the appointment to come and see you that again, inspires this potential person to actually book in with you. So like I say, client reviews, that's a really easy one to do under there. And again, kind of just more of these like uplifting, lighter type of things that aren't like, I'm teaching you this, I am being funny, or I am promoting this specific product. It's kind of everything else that falls into that too. So that's another important one. And there is one kind of fifth and final one, like a pillar that maybe doesn't need to be thrown into the rotation as frequently, but can you kind of dive into that a little bit for us?
Yeah, because I think it's still super important. So we would say that the bonus pillar would be the personal content pillar. Because face it, if you look across all of social media posts out there, probably the ones that get the most engagement, right, the most likes, the most comments, the most shares are either the entertaining ones or the personal ones. And we believe that this is, an important piece that you should not be forgetting. It doesn't mean that you have to open up your heart and what happens back home, but it could be posts such as, featuring a staff member, introducing a new staff member to your team, highlighting, maybe an educational event that your team or that you personally, went to outside of the salon and were at a conference or a show. It could be celebrating a promotion for an employee, in the salon. All of these are personal posts, more about the humans, and they always get the most engagement and likes and comments saying, hey, congratulations, whatnot. So they are an important part of making sure that you get engagement on your posts. And at the same time, it humanizes you and your team, which is super important for people to really want to be able to, trust you and make a connection and a relationship with you. Ultimately, that's what it's about in order to drive clients to your business. So that's why the personal pillar is an important fifth one that we like to talk about as well. All right. Those are the 5 pillars that we believe will really help you simplify and structure your social media planning for your salon. But there's another way to help you relieve some stress from creating content. And Sarah, I know that you love this one, so I'm going to give you the floor to talk about the role of evergreen content. What is that?
Okay, so evergreen content is content that can be used year round, just like evergreen trees, right? Like it never dies, it never expires or goes out of, style, like things like that. So evergreen content looks like something like, this would be like your salon's mission statement or, product line, like brand information or salon photos or whatever it is, quotes, testimonials, different things like that. So if you can look at these content pillars and create evergreen content that it doesn't matter if you post it today, 3 years from now, 4 years ago, it's still relevant. It still makes sense. It doesn't, again, go out of style or whatever it is. So this obviously isn't going to be your promotions. It's not going to be things that are seasonal. Like, it's going to be stuff that is, again, you could use it this time next year, 6 months from now, whatever, and it's still going to be relevant. So why this is so beneficial is you have to remember that, like, the goal with social media, at least, is that you are continuously growing and having new people follow your page. So if you posted something a year and a half ago that actually absolutely knocked it out of the park, it was like a funny post or a quote or something like that, half of your followers didn't see that time last year, and the other half probably don't remember that they saw it, right? So it just kind of like saves some time being able to recycle and reuse some of this content. So same thing, like if you create your content in Canva, I would make sure that I'm saving those types of things so that I can recycle and reuse them in the future. Maybe I'll change the color of the background. Maybe I'll copy and paste the information and put it on a new template. Maybe I'll just straight up repost the exact same thing. But it just kind of saves time. And I think it's just something that, again, a lot of salon pros just don't think about doing. Like, even if you did a hair transformation 4 years ago, you can be like, throw back to this amazing before and after. And people, it's still good hair regardless of if you did it 4 years ago. Or a hair tip, you're like brush your hair before you shower. Like, it's like, that is still relevant information 2 years ago as it is in 3 years, right? So just things like that. Like, I love evergreen content because, especially if you're trying to be more consistent on your social media and hit all of these pillars, it's hard to reinvent the wheel, and none of us are reinventing the wheel, right? There's only so many things, and Scott and I have talked about this a million times. There's only so many ways you can talk about SEO or website. Like, you have to come up with different ways to spin it, and there are going to be times where you are restating important information because you are hitting different people within your audience. So that's why I love evergreen content so much. And again, evergreen content is possible in any of the pillars that we talked about. So yes, just get organized with that and make sure to, kind of track what does really well. And if something does, knock it out of the park and you get great engagement, save it for the future when you're having kind of a week where you can't think about what you want to post.
Yeah, the sad reality is statistics show that when you make a post, only 5% of your followers actually see any one individual post on average. So, Sarah, you said it perfectly. Just because you posted it once doesn't mean that it's not relevant to share again at some point in the future. The magic really comes together when you combine the power of some of these sort of content pillar, contents that you have created with something that is evergreen. So just be a little bit more mindful as when you're creating that post to not just leave it as, pumpkin spice, latte, but, add a little bit of story to it. And you'll be able to utilize that, content again next fall. Some of them educational, you can take, throw it into a story, right? And then save it into your highlights, right? So they can have a little education bubble in your highlights that has some of these tips, ongoing, or some of these inspirational posts. It's just a great way for you to maximize the content that you are creating, right? Do it smarter, right? Not harder, because if you're creating it properly the first time, you can use it in so many different ways in the future, and it'll last way longer. Social media is not just about posting more and more. It's about having quality. Yes, consistency is important. We talk about that all the time, but quality in there is equally important. We hope that you gained something today that you can take to really make your life a little bit simpler, maybe putting a little bit less time and less energy into social media, feeling a little bit less stress and overwhelm, and at the same time producing actual better results that will work for you not only today, but in the future as well. If you have any questions about this, don't hesitate. We are here as a resource for the industry. Salon S.O.S, we are digital marketing support for the industry, whether it's websites, Google SEO, but social media as well. And we actually provide social media content creation services for salons and salon professionals that want to leave it to the experts who just don't have the time. feel free to reach out to us for a free consultation at any point in time. I always say our advice is always free. We want to help serve the industry in every way possible. So please don't hesitate to reach out on our website, salonsos.ca, email info@salonsos.ca, through our socials at salon.s.o.s. It's a pleasure to serve the industry. And thanks so much for listening, everyone, today. Thank you so much for listening to the Salon Scoop podcast. This show is produced by Salon S.O.S, a digital marketing agency by industry professionals for industry professionals. If you want simple and affordable solutions for any of your salon marketing needs, such as websites, client loyalty, Google search rankings, social media, or more, come visit us at salonsos.ca or on Instagram at salon.s.o.s. If you want to hear more episodes like this and help us continue to bring the industry great content, it would mean so much to us if you would support us in one of the following ways. Either share this episode with one other industry professional, and rate the show on Spotify or write us a quick review on Apple Music. We want to hear your feedback. If you have follow-up questions or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. DM us on Instagram at salonus.s.o.s or hit us up on our website again at salonsos.ca. Again, thanks so much for listening. Now go get your hustle on, keep smiling, and we'll catch you on our next episode.